Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, which store has the best Thanksgiving meal deal? Also, a lesson we can learn from Jason Kelce. All that and more on the way next. It is the Hudson Show from RadioU. Shout out to Jerry Hicks. He's from North Carolina. Jerry Hicks is a millionaire. He just won a lottery game in North Carolina. And in a way, he won the lottery twice. He won the lottery first by finding a $20 bill on the ground outside a convenience store. For many people, that would be enough to make them happy. But Jerry's like, no, I found this $20 bill and I must be having a lucky day. I'm doubling down. Put it all on a lottery scratch-off game. And sure enough, not only did he wind up winning more than that $20, he wound up winning $1 million. I love these stories because they come up and they're like, see, look, it can happen to you. You could be a millionaire too. All he did was find a $20 bill on the ground and now he's a millionaire. You should spend your next $20 on the lottery. Of course, the odds of Jerry finding this $20 bill and then winning $1 million combined are astronomical. But good for him. I am happy for him. He's going to be able to now retire after he's been working as a carpenter for 56 years. When did he start working as a carpenter? He must have been young. And I love what he said when he was interviewed. The first thing he thought when he won the $1 million is, this is a quote, "We are going to head straight to Golden Corral and eat everything they've got." How many among us? You know this is a guy who deserves the $1 million because he wasn't like, I'm going to Ruth's Chris or something like McCormick and Schmick's. He was thinking, I'm going to Golden Corral. Give me everything they've got. What a guy. It's the Hudson Show. Ray Gunn, the viral Australian break dancer from the Olympics this summer, has put out a challenge. And people are saying this is a good way for you guys to make money. She's put out a challenge over the weekend offering $15,000 to anybody that can beat her in a breakdancing competition. She's already lost $45 million. No, but I don't want, people are saying like, come on, like obviously you should be able to beat Ray Gunn in a breakdancing competition, right? Because she was so bad at the Olympics. But here's the thing, and I'll do anything for $15,000. But here's the thing, I don't want to beat her at breakdancing. I don't want to do anything involved with breakdancing. And look, because breakdancing is impressive. I'm not going to say it's not impressive. I see people breakdance that are like good at it. It's like, okay, that's impressive. But no matter how good you are at it, I just don't think it's cool. I don't think breakdancing is cool. And so I don't want to be even okay at it. And you know what's even worse than being great at something that I don't think is cool? Being mediocre at something I don't think is cool, but good enough to beat Ray Gunn. So I will not be participating. But if you beat her $15,000, you want to donate some of that to RadioU, that's cool. Glad other people are finally getting on the same page with me on this one. The political texts that we've all been getting, right? They're out of control. Producer Ali, how many would you say per day political texts you get?
I would say at least one per day.
Yeah.
But definitely they have ramped up over the past few months.
How many per day is too many?
One.
Yes. They always go to my spam folder too. Like my phone automatically filters it, but it still shows a notification. So then I have to look. Like, what's the point of the spam folder? It doesn't really help me at all. I still have to go see what it is. And so I'm not alone. A lot of other people out there saying that there should be a ban on campaign text messages. But and you know, for some companies to text you like that would actually be illegal. Mm-hmm. But here is the loophole that that campaigns use, that if a company, an entity is to send out text to different people using an auto dialer, that is unlawful. Mm-hmm. And you can complain about that. But for these campaigns, what they probably are doing is having somebody, technically a human, manually press send on these, even though they probably don't read the angry things that I say back. Somebody's manually pressing send, which means it's not illegal for them to do, but it still is annoying. Now, of course, you can reply stop, right, to opt out. Mm-hmm. But I think we've all probably tried that. And what has happened, they just there's just different numbers. Yeah. There's once some political campaign gets your phone number, all of the political campaigns have your phone number. and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm sorry to say, I'm going to stand here before you and say that the only thing that's going to stop these text messages is the election 2 days from now, or tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's going to get it to stop. And like you said, if you've given your phone number to one of these campaigns before, or any political candidate, that information's out there, or if your information's been leaked somewhere, man, you're cooked.
This is what I don't know is how they get it. Because I definitely have not given my number to any actual campaign.
Come on, Hudson. Don't be naive.
No, I haven't done it.
You know that the internet gives this stuff out.
I just don't know. And I don't even think like their campaigns. I know people will accuse political campaigns of a lot of stuff. I don't think they're like searching the dark web for my phone number. I think they got it somehow legally through some voter registration thing or something like that, which I don't know what they would need my phone number for that. But I guess I accidentally gave it. I don't know. But I do have, I take the text messages all day over somebody coming to your door and knocking. That's even tougher. But somebody did do that over the weekend. And first of all, normalize not answering the door. Nothing good can come from it. But when I saw this guy come to the door and I knew it was a political guy, I was like, I've got this. Because he was persistent. He knew we were home. He rang the doorbell. The dog's going crazy. He knocks. I'm like, all right, I said to Mrs. Hudson, I said, I got this. I go to the door.
I got this.
No matter what he said, I was just going to be like, yep. And I was able. He was like, what are you feeling about it? Are you going to vote on issue 1? I was like, yeah, the gerrymander. Like, I knew because I've seen all the commercials. I knew what to say to just get this guy to go away. And I'm fine with lying about whatever. I'm fine with lying to somebody because what can happen? Either I tell him if I do disagree, the truth, and then he's just going to argue with me or whatever. And then it's awkward. Or I can just agree and he can believe what he wants to believe. And I'm not going to change his mind. He's coming to my door trying to change mine. Mm-hmm. I think I was the best door he probably knocked on all day because I was just like, yeah, I'm good, man. You and me, we're going to let's go to the polls together.
Let's go vote right now.
Yeah. So I felt good about that. That's the one thing. I'm not going to answer my door for anybody else. I can feel like I can deal with as long as they don't ask me for money. I think I'm good. I handled that very well.
You heard it here first, guys. Hudson felt good about lying to the political person.
It was one of my proudest moments because I was just like, this could be a problem or I can just solve it so easily. Paying attention to all the politics stuff paid off with this guy. It paid off just to get this guy to go away. Our Monday tradition, the box office breakdown, letting you know what made money and sometimes what didn't in theaters over the weekend. If you saw anything recently you think we should know about, let us know at 8772-RadioU. I'll tell you, not the biggest weekend at the box office. Number 1 was a movie that has now been out for a couple weeks. Venom, The Last Dance, held strong, $26 million in North America. That gets it to 90 in just the United States, 90 million so far. It's done even better overseas. The Wild Robot was number 2. It only made 7 million, but it's also been out for 6 weeks. And number 3, Smile 2, making about $6 million. So not exactly the biggest weekend, the most exciting weekend for new releases since none of them even cracked the top 3. Producer Allie, what's the last thing you watched that's worth noting?
Over the weekend, I was super excited because one of my favorite franchises was added back to a streaming service that I have, which was Max, and that is the Jurassic Park franchise.
Hey.
So I did watch the original Jurassic Park.
The original Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That still holds up.
Still holds up. Animatronics, man, bring them back.
Is that the best Jurassic movie of all the Jurassic movies?
I think it's my favorite for sure. I love it. And I can, like you said, watch it at any point in time and have never felt like, oh, this is boring. It's so good. And, they don't rely a lot on CGI. The one scene that they do, it's in the dark, so it helps mask it with the T-Rex scene. But, I love that film, and I definitely think it probably holds up as the best Jurassic Park film.
I haven't seen all of them because there were some, that came in the first run of movies that maybe weren't as well received. I don't think I watched all of those, but I do think the first one probably is the best. Sorry, Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
And the new ones, even though many of them are very good. I have seen 2 things. One is Only Murders in the Building. I watched the finale. Obviously, spoilers ahead. I'm not going to spoil too much, but if you are a couple episodes behind or whatever, just forewarning. I'll tell you, and these are minor spoilers, but I really don't think that they closed this season out as strong for Only Murders as they have in the past. It really felt less like a mystery most of the time, even though you didn't know who did it until the second to last episode. It just didn't feel like, oh man, they kept giving you all these leads all along, but none of them really felt believable, you know? So and then the way Only Murders works, as we know now, is that they kill the person that's going to be the murder for the next season in the final episode of this season. This time they kind of telegraphed that. It was obvious. You could tell in the first, it wasn't too long into this final episode that you're like, oh, this guy's going to be dead by the end of the episode. So, and not somebody you're super attached to either. So very strange. I also watched, and this goes back to Halloween, but I watched Little Shop of Horrors, which I do every year, a musical from the 80s, a comedy musical from the 80s about a plant from outer space that eats people. But what I didn't realize is that there's an alternate ending to Little Shop of Horrors. And so this is a spoiler alert for Little Shop of Horrors, which came out now 40 years ago, give or take. But I accidentally watched the one with the alternate ending, and there's a big debate about, at least there's a 40-year-old movie. There's a big debate about which one is better, the alternate ending or the original. The story is, spoiler alert, for the Little Shop of Horrors, in the original, what wound up going to theaters and that anybody who's seen it would know, is it's a happy ending where the two main characters live happily ever after. The alternate ending that I didn't even realize I was watching until the movie was ending is that they don't live happily ever after, and the plant takes over the entire world.
Oh my gosh.
The alien plant.
No.
Which the debate is, and this is what me and Mrs. Hudson argued about, or agreed on actually, is that the ending actually probably makes more sense. It's more accurate. It actually sends a better message for the movie. But it goes on way too long. And then I looked online to see what other people said about it, and like on Reddit and everything, everybody's 100% in agreement. That it probably is a better, the other one is a nice Hollywood ending, but the better ending would be for the plant to take over everything. But it just goes on way too long. They're like, look what we can do with these puppets. And it's
right.
Let's really get our money's worth out of these these effects at the end of the movie. But it was just too long, So
what you're telling me is you had a Steve Martin weekend.
That's true. It was a very Steve Martin filled weekend, but I just have a Steve Martin filled life. So
yeah, who doesn't?
Not saying much. Let us know if you saw anything good lately. 8772 RadioU. It's your box office breakdown. Another weekend of college football is behind us. In the rear view, we're down to most teams have about 3 games to play in the season. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gone by too quick. Ohio State escapes with a win against Penn State. The score looked close. People from Penn State and many just neutral fans like myself, kind of neutral, thought that the game should not be played at noon. But listen up, Penn State. The game being at noon is not why you lost. You could have played that game at midnight. You could have played that game on the moon. It doesn't matter. They weren't going to win. They didn't score an offensive touchdown.
Right.
It must suck. You think about this. I think Ohio State, you have a fairly similar thought process. It must suck to be like, you're really good, but you can never, and Ohio State did win the big game this time because somebody had to. But for Penn State, you've got James Franklin, not bad enough to fire because you win 10 games every year, but also not good enough to actually accomplish anything of meaning. What do you do? That's the worst place to be, I feel. It's
such a bad place to be, but I will say one thing I heard someone say on the Big Noon Kickoff broadcast, which I thought was very interesting, and this is the college football landscape has changed so much over recent years, and especially with this season with the 12-team playoff. They said something that I was just like, wow, this is wild. Out of I can't remember how many seasons James Franklin has been with Penn State.
Yeah.
Something like if he's been there 10 seasons, 8 out of the 10 seasons, he would have made it in the college football playoff if they had the 12-team playoff.
Right.
So it's crazy to me that some people are like, oh my gosh, he's terrible. We're going to fire him because he can't win the big games. And yet with this new format, most likely Penn State is going to make it into the playoff almost every year.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like 8 out of 10 seasons, he also would have lost in the first round of the college football playoffs. So, like, what good does that do you?
Well, you don't know until you play those games.
It's so tough, too, because, and, you know, Michigan went through this similar thing with Jim Harbaugh. I felt like he could never win, and then eventually he did, and then they win the championship. But with Penn State, it really feels like that's far away because they're a lot of times the scores are close, but they're not truly competitive. They weren't competitive against Ohio State. You take away like you get out to a 10-0 lead. That's at home with a pick six. That's a game you should win, and they never scored. They got a field goal, and that's it. After that, it's just, and they were supposed to have a better offense this year. So I don't know, but you know, who are you? The other thing you have to think is who are you going to get that's better? Who, especially at Penn State. Ohio State can get whoever they want. Can Penn State get whoever they want?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the better option would be if you do end up firing James Franklin. But I say don't freak out just yet. Yes, they've lost this game to Ohio State, but there's still like a world where they could end up playing Ohio State again in the Big Ten championship or playing Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. There's still so much ahead for Penn State. So if you're a Penn State fan, don't freak out.
I would freak out because there are just some big games coming up that they will not win. I will tell you right now. Talking about college football, though, the other thing, like we've said this in the past, that there's no true number one team. Oregon is undefeated. They beat Ohio State. They are number one. But I was thinking about this, that, you know, because I don't think that Oregon is the best team. I really don't. But
is there a
know,
best team?
I don't know who is. And then when you think about the college football playoff now, when you get into the playoff, you have to win the final, right? And you have to win the semifinal. And you have to win another game against a playoff team in addition to that. So you're talking about you have to beat 3 really good teams. And if you told me any of the teams that are anywhere close to the college football playoff could do that this year in the regular season, I'd say there's no shot. If Oregon played 3 teams in their regular season schedule that were going to make the college football playoff, they wouldn't win all 3. But somebody has to win all 3 in the playoff. And that I just don't know who it's going to be because I don't feel like any of them are good enough to do that.
Isn't that exactly what we want in college football, though? We have no idea who's going to win this.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It is nice that we can't just pencil in Georgia as the champion right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Ohio State as the champion right now. I do feel good about that. So I guess, I mean, this is better. It's better. It's just, it's tough. It's tough.
It's going to be a good year, though.
Yes. Happy Election Day Eve. That doesn't have any bearing on what we're about to talk about. In fact, we're talking about something that happened over the weekend at National Jersey Day. We're going to open up the Hudson Show hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
We want to know the coolest jersey in your collection because we're big sports fans here on the Hudson Show, aren't we, Producer Allie?
Yes, we are.
We wear jerseys. I love that we can wear jerseys to work.
Yeah.
And it's not usually frowned upon, even if it's a Cowboys jersey. We just let that go. We just let Nene do that.
We just let him do it.
Yeah. In fact, he does it so often we don't even comment on it. He just brings it up. He brings it up.
I'm pretty sure he just keeps it here or just puts it on.
I don't know if he ever takes it off. Well, he told me that he always wears it the day after they lose, right?
Yeah.
To show that he still supports them. If he can't wear it when they lose, then he can't wear it at all. So he's been wearing it all season long.
He's been wearing it a lot, yeah.
But, you know, the thing about jerseys is a lot of them, they have a story. They have a story behind them. The coolest one you have isn't just one maybe you saw and just bought. Maybe it's got something more to it. I know that's how it is for me. So we'll talk about the coolest jerseys in your collection if you want to send yours in. 877-2-RADIO-U. We heard from D, who says, my husband gave me a Texas Rangers jersey for Christmas in 2022. I wore it in 2023, of course, and they won the World Series. I think D is at least partially responsible for the Rangers winning the World Series last year.
Nice job, D.
Lisa says she turned a Columbus Blue Jackets jersey into a dress. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Some might say you shouldn't do that. Like you shouldn't mess with a jersey. It's sacred, but it actually sounds like a cool thing to do to me.
I don't think you would need to do much messing because all of those hockey jerseys are huge
They are
anyways.
too big, yeah.
So they kind of already are dresses.
Order several sizes down if you want it to be flattering. Ryan says, I have a legit Griswold 00 Blackhawks jersey, just like you can see Clark wearing in Christmas Vacation. And he says it's always a crowd pleaser at Christmas parties. Ryan, I have that same jersey.
No way.
I do. I usually wear it for our, Christmas parties here because it technically counts as a Christmas outfit, even though there's nothing Christmassy about it besides that it was worn in the movie. But it is cool.
I'm so disappointed in myself. You really threw me a softball there. You said that, and I went, no way. But I should have said, are you serious, Clark?
Yes, that would have been the best. What's your best jersey, producer Allie? What's your jersey collection like?
I do have a few favorites that I like a lot. I've got a Cleveland, it says Indians, but they're the Guardians now, baseball jersey, which is Jose Ramirez.
Mm-hmm. Are you allowed to wear that out, or?
I don't have any trouble wearing it out. Yes, I'm good with that. It was after they had removed the Chief Wahoo on the arm patch, so that's not there. So
that's the only thing that was problematic about it. So
I think for the most part, people are fine. But yes, I have that. That's one of my favorites. But my all-time favorite jersey that I currently own right now is actually a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey, and it is for a player that currently plays on the team, Isaac Okoro.
Okay.
And he is...
So it's newer.
Yeah, it's newer. He's been on the team for the past 4 years, I think. But he is actually, his family is from Nigeria. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in Africa. And so when I saw that we drafted Isaac Okoro, I was like, I have to get a jersey, just, support the Africans.
Yeah.
I got to do it. It's the African in me that has to buy that jersey. And so I did. That
makes it fun. It's got a story behind it. My favorite jersey is the one I'm wearing right now. It is a Dominic Hasek jersey. He was a goalie when I was a fan for the Buffalo Sabres. And he is the equivalent. Dominic Hasek is the equivalent of Matthew Stafford now in the NFL. He was played for a garbage franchise, made them good when, Matthew Stafford's with the Lions, Dominic Hasek with the Sabres. Didn't win a championship with them, though. Finally wound up chasing a championship with other teams and wound up getting it elsewhere. And so that is Dominic Hasek. And this jersey, it's got like... people call it the goat head, but it's supposed to be a buffalo for the Buffalo Sabres. They occasionally still break this jersey out, but it's really a thing of the early 2000s and late 90s. And the story behind it too is that this was sent in by a listener who just happened to know. Like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't know anybody knew I liked the Sabres or Dominic Hasek enough to even know to send me a jersey. And they guessed, or they knew me that well somehow and sent this in. And this is a real deal jersey, a couple $100 probably.
I bet.
And so that was a very nice gesture by that listener. And we heard from Chad, who sent in his favorite jerseys, but Chad is also the guy who sent me the Dominic Hasek jersey that I'm wearing now. That is the coolest jersey in my collection. Chad knows me so well. Obviously an awesome guy. Chad says his few favorite jerseys. One, I'm sensing a theme here, a black Stadium Series Clark Griswold Blackhawks jersey. He also has a Chris Jericho, who's a wrestler, Nashville Predators jersey, which is hockey. Then an authentic 1999 signed Mark Brunell Jacksonville Jaguars jersey. The Jaguars used to have really cool jerseys. Do you think this, Allie, that almost every team in sports would be better served if they went back to their throwback jerseys permanently?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like 75% of teams.
Yeah, in some instances. There are a few where I feel like their current jerseys are better than some of their old jerseys. One of those being the Cavs, because they used to have the mustard yellow. They brought the gold back, and I much prefer the gold from the mustard yellow.
Thomas says he has an 87 87 as in the number, Penguins jersey that he got signed by Sidney Crosby. 87 is his number, leaving the stadium after the parking lot.
So cool. We got a lot of hockey in the chat.
There's a lot of hockey, isn't there? We have a hockey fan. Oh, but we also, here's a good one from Luke, who says he's got a Packer Aaron Rodgers jersey and a Clay Matthews jersey. And this is crazy. I have both of those jerseys also. Now, the Clay Matthews one, I really don't wear anymore because the nameplate is starting to come off.
Oh.
That one got a lot of use before I got the Aaron Rodgers jersey to replace it. And I still wear that one proudly often, even though he's not on the team anymore. But that's cool that me and Luke
have that in common.
My jersey collection isn't that big, but there's a lot of crossover in my jersey collection with the Radio U audience. Somebody texted in, a Brandon Roy Trailblazers uniform. It's green. I didn't even know the Trailblazers ever wore green uniforms. Look at this thing.
Oh, whoa. That looks cool.
I feel like the NBA doesn't have as cool. Like if you're talking about the sports with cooler uniforms, the NBA might not be the sport I would go to, but that is a cool uniform.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
So what's missing from your collection? I think we should ask. Maybe somebody will send it in. Like,
there's so many players I love. One of my favorite players is Josh Naylor for the Cleveland Guardians. I'd love to get one of his jerseys eventually, and also Stephen Kwan, my boy in left field. Yeah, he is one of my favorites.
I always like getting throwback jerseys for players because then they can't like leave the team and upset me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would love I don't have any Boston Red Sox jerseys, which is a big blind spot for me because I think baseball is the easiest jersey to wear too. Like hockey, it has to be the right time of year. Baseball, you could wear that all year round. I would love a David Ortiz or Pedro Martinez Red Sox jersey.
Those would be sick.
Yeah. Did you see the video of Jason Kelce smashing a guy's phone over the weekend as well? Have you seen this?
I have not seen that.
Okay, well, watch it on mute because the reason he smashed a guy's phone is this guy was following him around, filming him, and insulting Travis Kelce. I can't, nor do I want to, say what he said about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, but so he's following Jason Kelce around, and Jason Kelce eventually takes his phone and spikes it into the ground. And then repeats the insult to this guy that he had been hurling at Travis Kelce. So some people are criticizing Jason Kelce. I feel like more people, and I'm glad to see this, are like
on his side.
It's a little far, like, because I guess it's technically could be considered a crime to take somebody's phone out of their hands and spike it into the ground to destroy it, right?
Yeah.
But wasn't this guy asking for it?
Yeah, I would say if you're going to go do that to someone like Jason Kelce, who's played in the NFL, this big burly guy, you're just going to stick a phone in his face and start saying mean stuff about his family.
Yeah.
How can you expect him not to react?
Yeah, I am concerned because sometimes when stuff like this happens, right, this is what the guy who was filming wanted.
Yeah.
He wanted to get a reaction out of Jason Kelce. I do think, though, that he's been, as far as I've seen, more widely criticized. The guy who was doing the filming got his phone destroyed and doing the insulting of Travis Kelce, too, should be pointed out. He's been criticized enough that he's probably not enjoying like his 15 seconds of fame. I don't know his name, but he seems like he sucks. And this is what he was asking for. And Jason Kelce probably going to write him a check for his phone just to keep anything, from going any further than that, any charges from being pressed. That, does this guy even want to go through those problems anyways? And so in a way, I do feel like I kind of wish Jason Kelce would do this to more people. Like, aren't there other people out there with phones just taping stuff that sometimes they just need to be spiked into the ground?
Yeah, they just need to be smashed. But I will say it's funny because this makes me think of everything that our parents tried to tell us not to do when we're kids. We're like, they're like, don't give in to the person that's like, you're trying to annoy you, that all they want to do is get a reaction from you. And that's all that's going to give them joy in this world, is you overreacting, you getting upset, you getting angry. So it's absolutely true that that's exactly what this guy wanted to do.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because then the people, if maybe eventually they get tired of just bullying you, but at the same time, maybe they never learn their lesson unless Jason Kelce or someone like him comes along and spikes their phone into the ground. So I can think of a few people that could use the Jason Kelce treatment right now. So a lot of people pointed out too, now we all have phones and we can film whatever we want, whenever we want. And like, we've all just had to get used to that. Like, you could be on camera, you never know. But at the same time, like, you go back before we were before phones were a thing. And if you had a video camera, it was considered weird and very intrusive. And like, you were basically thought of as a weirdo and a criminal if you were carrying a video camera around and just filming people out in public.
Yeah, well, because a video camera was like the size of a stereo.
Yeah.
Like, it was huge, you're just going to carry a camera on your shoulder.
Yeah, but
filming.
people would, like, if people would have been justified back in those days to go up to you and smash your expensive camera. Now, Jason Kelce, to some extent, ostracized for doing this, even though he was in some ways justified too. So I hope this guy learned his lesson. I hope it teaches some other people, some watchers, a lesson as well. T.G.I. Fridays filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They say it was a difficult but necessary action to protect the best interests of their stakeholders, including domestic and international franchisees, our valued team members around the world. I don't know if that means they're trying to like stay afloat even though they're filing for bankruptcy, or if this is the end, or at least the beginning of the end of TGI Fridays. But guys, I hate to say this, but I feel partially responsible, not just because I haven't gone to TGI Fridays and given them patronage in so many years, but because the last time I did go to TGI Fridays was when they used to have endless apps. And so for $10 a person, I was just eating so many loaded potato skins. I was thinking to myself the entire time, I was thinking, how can this possibly be possible for TGI Fridays? It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been. And I feel like I, even though it was years ago, just ate so many loaded potato skins that I must have had a hand in them filing for bankruptcy over the weekend. The NFL this weekend, I actually felt bad. There's a team I felt bad for. You know who it was, Allie?
Who?
It was the Browns.
I knew you were going to say that.
At least I felt bad for your fans because to me, I think once Jameis Winston came in last weekend and they got their second win of the season, and the AFC is so top heavy that the wild cards could be anybody. Mm-hmm. So it was like, to me, I thought the Browns had hope. And then that hope was definitely snatched away because they did not look good against the Chargers.
They did not.
And so I felt bad about that. I'll tell you another team going through something similar that I feel actually good for. I feel relief is the Cowboys. Because even Dak Prescott said he was caught on the sidelines on camera saying, "We bleeping suck." And the Cowboys lost to the Falcons. They are, for all intents and purposes, out of the playoff picture, right? And I don't know how Nene's handling that. But to me, as a Cowboys fan, they were sitting there thinking like, well, we're not good, but who knows? And at least we could get to the playoffs. And now that hope is just gone. And I actually think that it's better to have it taken away now than like in a more heartbreaking moment later in the year.
That's true. And we will surely see Nene at 9:30 with his Cowboys jersey on.
Yeah, 100%. He's, he'll definitely be in that. And then many people are wondering, Hudson, what do you think about the Packers losing to the Lions? And I'll tell you, to me, even though they lost and they lost big time, it's not all doom and gloom. It's also disaster and despair. I feel horrible about it. I actually think there's a lot of hope for the Packers. That game, I kind of throw out. It's horrible weather, right? Which you would think would advantage Green Bay. It didn't. Jordan Love, for part of the game, he was definitely injured, but then he was also just like not making great decisions. Jared Goff was. I was shocked by that, but the Packers also put up a lot of yards. Like, I think in more normal circumstances, last year they beat the Lions on the road. They can easily bounce back and they get a bye now to get Jordan Love healthy and everything. Do you agree with this, Allie, that the Lions, I don't believe that they will win the Super Bowl. And I'll tell you why. Because they are the type of team that runs trick plays when they're up by like 28 points against the worst team in the league, the Titans, last week.
Yeah.
When do teams that do that wind up winning?
Not very often, because usually the ones that end up winning actually run quite boring plays.
Yeah, that's right. When you're rubbing it in against the Titans, you're running trick plays, getting all goofy when you've already got they did it against the Cowboys too.
Yeah.
That comes back to bite you. You can't have that attitude, I don't think. And maybe they're thinking like, well, you never know when the game is over, so we just like to really run up the score. I mean, the games were over.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of attitude will come back to bite the plus. I'm just extra angry at them because Amon-Ra St. Brown showed up to the Packers game in a Green Bay sucks shirt.
Ooh.
I don't think that kind of trash talk gets you anywhere.
Well, they did win.
They did win. But, in Green Bay, we don't count regular season wins. We count banners. And I don't think the Lions have any.
Fair enough.
Yet. We're talking the most annoying TV characters of all time. Send yours in to the Hudson Hotline. We do have some good answers already coming in. Regina says, any character from South Park or Family Guy. I cannot do those shows. Brian from Family Guy, not the best. A lot of the South Park characters, annoying. How's your anime knowledge?
Pretty good.
Oh, you know anime.
Yeah.
So you know what show Zenitsu Agastama is from?
My guess is probably one of the more popular ones, being like Dragon Ball Z or something.
It's apparently it's the annoying character from Demon Slayer.
Oh, Demon Slayer. I haven't watched
Chuck.
that one yet.
Chuck said that. So we'll take your word for it, Chuck.
It's a very popular series, so I'm not surprised that was brought up.
Mickey says Mona Lisa Saperstein from Parks and Recreation. I don't know why I can't say it. Jenny Slate. Oh, plays her. I'm gonna be real with everybody. I've watched Parks and Rec, but I do not have the kind of recollection of the show to really remember how annoying she was. But I remember the character. I vaguely remember. I just don't know. Jamie says Elena from The Vampire Diaries.
Really? That's a hot take. She's like the main character.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen it. So, but yet again, another one I'll take your word for it. Many people saying, and this is obvious, this shouldn't even count, Caillou, the children's character from years ago. That obviously very annoying. We did hear from Brad, who said AJ from The Sopranos.
What?
Have you seen The Sopranos?
I have.
I'm not going to say some of the stuff Brad said about AJ.
Oh, no.
But let's just say Brad, not a fan of AJ from The Sopranos.
Not a fan of AJ. Okay. We have another very surprising comment here.
Okay. From Boone, Corey from Boy Meets World. Is Corey the main character from Boy Meets World?
Another shocking answer.
The truth is a lot of like shows, especially if they're like Disney Channel shows, a lot of the characters are very annoying because they're like 13 years old, and 13-year-olds can be a little annoying.
I love Boy Meets World, so I take offense to that.
Susanna says any character from Gilmore Girls. Now people are just saying shows they hate, I feel like.
Now be the whole cast.
Angie says, and I agree, this was mine, Peggy Hill from King of the Hill. I don't know how Hank stayed married to her. I don't know how he did it. I don't know. He would be so much happier if they weren't together. But that's love. That's marriage. You stick it out, even if you're married to the worst person ever. Joe says, I don't remember his name, but the brother from Better Call Saul.
Oh, I've never seen Better Call Saul.
I keep wanting to say Howard, but that's the other guy from the law firm. So I don't know. I remember his name, but yeah, not the best. What's yours?
Mine, I have one from reality TV show, so it's not a character, it's just a person, but then also one from an actual TV show. So I'll give that one first. Game of Thrones, Joffrey. Oh my gosh.
Yes, popular answer.
Probably most hated character in television ever, but could not stand him. But the one that I always was annoyed by, and this person kind of created a character for themselves, was I always loved the show Survivor. And the season that was in the Philippines, there was a girl from Brazil named Abby, and she drove me nuts.
What is she doing now?
I have no idea.
Probably a very successful influencer.
She did go back on like a season of Survivor. Like she came back and was the same annoying person again. So yeah, very annoying. I wanted her to be voted off every single week, and she stayed on for way too long.
Lots of people hopping in saying Lisa from The Simpsons.
Oh,
that's I don't know if that's a hot take because lots of people are saying it, but you couldn't have The Simpsons without Lisa, though.
Yeah,
somebody's got to be the smart conscience of the family. But you know, Moo Deng. It's time for Moo Deng to move over because there's a new baby hippo in town. Its name is Haggis. This is real, out of Scotland. Then is it Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
Even though it looks like Edinburgh, they just have their own way of doing things in Scotland, or maybe we have our own way here. Either way, the Edinburgh Zoo has announced the birth of its own baby pygmy hippo, and they've named it very appropriately Haggis. They said on their Twitter, Moo Deng, who dang. That's pretty good. Whose is better, theirs or mine?
Theirs is pretty good. I have to say it's very close to my heart as like someone from Ohio, because it sounds very close to like Who Day in Cincinnati.
That's right. But you're not even a Bengals
I'm not a Bengals fan, but that just was what it reminded me of.
Okay, I was going to think about other things, but no, let's stay on. Let's focus here. Focus on the baby hippo. Edinburgh also tweeted out on their X account. They apologized for for trying to pit the two baby hippos. There's enough room for us to love both, right? They say, sorry, guys, this is our official Notes app apology. We were wrong to pit haggis and Moo Deng against each other. There's space in the world for two beautiful pygmy hippo divas, and we should celebrate them all. Sorry to Moo Deng. That's nice of them to do that. But I do think this is a lesson, I think, for Moo Deng and for many of us, that you cannot use your youth and cuteness for fame and fortune and attention, because eventually someone will come along that's younger and cuter than you. And that happens to hippos as well.
It sounds like a very Hollywood type of thing. You know, it's like, oh, somebody younger and more beautiful than you is coming to replace you.
And before you know it, Moo Deng is getting like cosmetic surgery and things are lying about its age, and we can't have that.
Fake Botox.
Yeah. We love you the way you are, Moo Deng, no matter how old you get. Now that Election Day is here, there's no holidays. It doesn't count as a holiday, but it's kind of a holiday. But there's nothing else between now and Thanksgiving. We can finally open up some Thanksgiving talk here on the Hudson Show. For example, many grocery stores are trying to lure you to buy your Thanksgiving fixins there by offering meal deals. I've got one here from Aldi and one here from Target. I want to know which one you think is better. We'll start with Target.
Yes.
Target has a meal that serves 4 people. Only $20, $5 a person. That's pretty good. For $20, you get a Good and Gather turkey that's up to 10 pounds, green beans, condensed cream of mushroom soup, cranberry sauce, a roasted turkey gravy, stuffing mix from Stovetop, and russet potatoes, all for $20. And that's enough for 4 people, they say anyways. Aldi has a deal for $47. But theirs, they say, can feed up to 10 people. It includes a turkey up to 16 pounds, spices for the turkey, gravy, rolls, mac and cheese, stuffing mix, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, sweet potato casserole ingredients, green bean casserole ingredients, and pumpkin pie.
And whipped topping.
And whipped topping, yes, of course. And the green bean casserole does include the crispy onions, of course. That's important to point out. Which do you think is the better deal?
I think obviously the Aldi one is better because it comes with so much more. And even though you are getting, it's more expensive and feeding more people with the, 10 people kind of idea, it's still less than $5 per person. So it's actually kind of cheaper.
I think I'd go with Target, and here's why. One, the Aldi stuff, that's just it comes with a bunch of stuff that I don't need.
Okay.
I'll pay $20, I'll have a Thanksgiving meal from Target, and that's just enough for me. I'll just eat that all on my own.
You're the 4-person meal.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not crazy. I'm not going to eat it all in one sitting. I don't mean that. I just mean I'm just going to make this and then have the leftovers over and over again.
Yeah. Thanksgiving has good leftovers. We know that.
Some might say that's selfish. I just think that I am hungry, and I think it's smart. I think it's a good money-saving move, cost-effective.
Very economical of you, Hudson, to go get this meal deal from Target. But I have to say, I think to get more bang for your buck, the Aldi one it's just better.
More bang for your cluck. Dude, turkey's cluck. That was bad.
I don't know. I think they gobble, Hudson.
You could also do the DiGiorno Thanksgiving pizza, which comes for all of this, and it's like $2.
Yeah.
It's Love 'em or Leave 'em on the Hudson Show. We need your help. Give some advice to some lovers in peril at 877-2-RadioU. We have a guy who has sent in. He says, me and my girlfriend have been together for 6 months, and it's been fine and fun. Don't know if it's great when you lead off that it's been fine. Anyway, she told me that she would like to tattoo her eyebrows because it's pain to get them done every morning. I told her that I much prefer natural ones. Well, she did it a couple days ago. The way I feel about her new look is something I'm not sure I'll be able to tolerate. Strong wording. Her eyebrows are thick, large, and unnatural, cartoonish, and I barely even look at her right now. I expressed gently, this is a real problem. We shouldn't be laughing. I expressed gently that I don't like it much. I prefer natural eyebrows and that I think I'll need a lot of time to get used to her new eyebrows. How do I proceed? 8772 Radio U. We need some help for our guy who's having a tough time dealing with his girlfriend's new eyebrows. Good answers coming in, though. I think some very helpful stuff here, like Brittany, who says, you can only control your own actions, not the actions of your partner. Be careful about commenting on it too much. And if you feel it's such a big issue that you're losing attraction, then I guess leave them. A relationship that's entirely dependent on a pair of eyebrows perhaps wasn't meant to last. She went there. That's good. Also, Garrett, you understand that you've probably never seen her natural eyebrows since she's doing them every day. That's a good point.
Yep. Very good point.
You have no idea what they actually would look like if she just what her natural eyebrows actually look like. Danielle said, I had mine tattooed and I remember crying after they were done. They looked insane, not in a good way. But that's because they took about 2 weeks to settle. And once they healed, they looked a lot better than they did, even when I would do them with makeup. So maybe just some time. It takes some time about after getting your eyebrows tattooed on. I mean, that makes sense, right? If you get a tattoo elsewhere, it's all like swollen and red and whatever weird at first. So, of course, that'd be the same way on your face.
Yeah.
You have any eyebrow or relationship expertise to add?
Well, I do have to say, I feel for this girl because a lot of pressure is put on girls to kind of, match the beauty standards of the day.
Sure.
And so I understand why she wants to go and do this and get this done, because she's just like, I don't have time to fill in my eyebrows every morning. And,
Yeah, there's two choices. You can either do them every day, look good, or you can be like me and never do them and look ridiculous.
But I mean, it's a reality that girls do face, and I feel her pain in that situation. Now, I am thankfully, due to genetics, I have very dark eyebrows, so I don't feel like I need to fill them in. But that's not the case for everybody, so I understand her pain. But I also feel for the guy because he probably had no clue that this was going to turn out this way, and also look so like cartoonish when it is first done. It looks kind of wild. Like, honestly, it looks literally like you put a block of Legos on your head,
I was looking at looking this up online. Some people say you look like an Angry Birds character when you first get it done.
Just a set of eyebrows.
That's temporary. It doesn't last like that. It just takes some time.
So I think it's okay that you feel a little bit like, I don't like it at all and I don't know what to say. Like, just give it some time. You'll be okay. And support your girlfriend because, if she's wanting to go and do this just to save herself some time and also probably save herself some money on makeup and products and stuff like that, that'll help you in the long run too.
Yeah, there you go. I feel like if there was not a criticism, but if there was something the girlfriend may have done better, she obviously did her research before doing this. She might have been able to prepare him a little better by saying, hey, it's going to look wacky these first few days.
Right.
But other than that, you just gotta be patient with it. Mabel says, this is good. The tattoo brows do require some time to heal before they look like they should, but it shouldn't take very long. They do look insane at first. Maybe just give it a minute before you make any relationship altering choices.
Yes, good advice.
Especially over eyebrows.
Right.
Amber, although, eyebrows are important. They're underappreciated, but you see them all the time. This is a love them for sure. Shout out to Max who texted in. I keep saying happy election day because I just want everybody to have a good attitude today, Let's keep a smile going. But Max says, my election day will be much happier when all the political texts and calls and ads stop. He says he already voted, and that got me thinking, how many more people do you think would vote if you once you voted early, right, you could somehow opt out of all of the calls and texts and most importantly, ads on YouTube and whatever.
Oh, yes. If I could opt out of the ads, I would have voted the first day that I would have been allowed to vote. Right?
You want to get people to vote, come up with some kind of scenario where they can do that. That's why I wait till election day because I'm like, I'm still going to see the ads anyways.
Right.
I might as well make it worth my while to see them. Maybe they'll change my mind.
Yeah.
Ads do that, right?
Sure.
All the time. I just vote for the last ad I saw is actually what I do.
That's your decision.
Yeah. So it's a race against the clock. Who can show me the last ad before I go later today. Are they allowed to run ads today?
I'm not sure.
Probably, right?
I would imagine up until the very end.
They could probably run ads after the polls close. It'd just be pointless. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.